the goblins had just ambushed them after Hank got coated in maggots.
Yeah.
But because the goblins failed their last stealth check, the party they didn't get a surprise round. The party won initiative, so the party all moved away from the maggots that the goblins were going to throw them, or the goblin, I should say, were going to throw them into. So.
All right. So basically, half the goblins were on the far side of the maggots, and to get to us, they would have to go like right past them and receive attacks from them, and most of them were minions. So they were like, "Yeah, we're going home." So they went off somewhere, and we were thinking that they were going to use some alternate route to come around, but they never showed up again. So we were facing half the goblins, and they were mostly Goblen. Yeah.
Because they came from the Oblin, and the Oblin is pluralized as Oblin, so I pluralized Goblen as Goblin as well.
Yeah.
Because they're not goblins, they're Goblen. But they're like goblins in every way, except they're made of stone.
Yeah. So anyway, there were a bunch of melee goblin, and a room full of like tables and chairs, and it was basically a restaurant. You know, it was like this. And so, let me see. There was one guy that was nearby, and then there were a bunch that were sort of off in the distance.
Yeah, and originally that guy wasn't even nearby. Like, you ran up to him. They were all sort of around you, right?
Yeah, there was a bit of running around going on. I'm trying to remember what the exact sequence was in the first part of that combat. I remember how it ended with all the chairs and stuff, which is going to be awesome when we get to it.
Basically, like, you guys killed the guys who were near you, but some more guys who were far enough away, they weren't on the battle board yet, kind of came into view at the very edge, and they were quite far away, and they were shooting their crappy little goblin arrows at you.
Yeah. So we got into the...
Although crappy little goblin arrows are dangerous level 1, they do 4 damage flat, but like, you know, when you only have 20 hit points...
It doesn't take much.
Yeah. We did some stuff that greatly amused Aderon. It's like, oh, they're firing ranged weapons at us, so we're like flipping tables up into barricades and going down on prone behind them and stuff for cover. And so everyone was falling over, and Aderon's like, everyone's just falling over all by themselves. What's going on here?
And it became clear that it became clear that without these guys supporting them, like, the goblin weren't that good, and so they stopped taking them seriously, and I could tell at the moment when Croson is like, I pick up a chair and throw it at their leader, and it kills them.
They're minions.
Well, the leader
kills them. Well, the leader
had hit points, but he was badly hurt at that point.
Yeah.
And so, maybe Croson killed the minion with the first chair.
The thing is, though, that it wasn't so much a gesture of contempt that they were throwing chairs at these guys. It was that no one had any ranged weapons except me.
That's also true. And they were all far away shooting their crappy little...
Yeah.
Well, they aren't crappy, that's the thing. Like, they're these little minions, one-hit kills, but they're far away.
And they do 4 hit points damage each when they hit you, so cumulatively, it was a threat.
And you can throw a chair. Maybe I should have made this less. I said a chair was range 5'10". That's actually pretty far.
Yeah.
But at 10, you're at a big penalty by that point.
Yeah.
But they just...
And they had cover from their surroundings and stuff. So.
50-foot chair toss.
Yeah, I've been throwing chairs for 10,000 hours. I can do anyway. So and I got to do my cool thing where I jump in front of someone, take a shot for them, and then fire back. That was fun.
Isn't that what killed? No, that killed a minion.
It killed a minion. Yeah. Some minion or other shot Hank, and instead I went and took the arrow and fired back. Yeah.
And Hank was just like, okay.
That's total John Woo.
That's how I'm able as a healer to spend my healing surges boosting the hit points of other characters. So anyway, we successfully...
Can I get like a little plate or something? Because I want to put ketchup on it. I assume you guys don't want me to put it right in the thing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't mind putting it right on.
Oh, well.
Yeah, whatever.
You have ketchup.
I guess we could put it in this side to start.
You guys are good. Oh, you have like it. You don't like ketchup in it? No.
I don't like you.
Here, we can just put his on the plate.
There. Now you can ketchup all over it.
So anyway, the fight went fairly well. I think we took a little more damage, but we killed those goblin good.
Actually, I didn't exactly say what happened, but those other goblins were coming around to fight, but by the time I got there, everyone was dead, and they're like, yeah, maybe we'll just go.
Yeah, if they weren't able to combine their forces, they were in trouble. So anyway, after we finished fighting the goblin, we went back to a little bit of exploring, trying to figure out how to get out of this place. We decided not to go into the corridor that was completely filled with maggots.
No.
Yeah.
They did look in there, and there's doors and stuff, and they're all just swarming with those piranha maggot things.
Completely filled with piranha maggots. It was kind of strange. So anyway, we went and looked for some other doors. And there were a bunch of nice doors. And then there was like one little door, which wasn't as nice. And I totally recognized it, both in and out of character. It's like, it's a servant's entrance. That's where I gotta go. And so it was locked. And I did thievery and I unlocked it. And sure enough, it was a servant's entrance. There was a corridor inside. And I'm like, yeah, no one ever goes in these places. This is great. So we went inside. We locked the door behind us. There were like little piles of dust. And we're like, okay, this place has been undisturbed for a long time. We'll do our 8-hour rest. We really need to do that. So we rested in the corridor. And then after the rest was over, and we were back up to full, we went on and followed the corridor. And there were a whole lot of back doors to all the rooms that had the nice fancy doors on the outside. I was like, of course, servants need access to all the rooms. So we sort of explored most of these nice rooms from the back entrances. The first one we went to, one of the doors we listened at, and there was a weird noise coming from it.
I remember it was you could barely hear it, but at first, I'll have to say it loud because I don't think the recorder will pick it up otherwise, but it was sort of this, except they could barely, I was saying it much quieter when they were first listening at the door.
So we went inside, or rather Cricket went inside, because she's sort of the
bravest party member.
Well, she's the most expendable party member. She's been insisting on going in first in various places. And so she went in there.
If something happens, they can just buy another.
Exactly. So we went inside, and it was really creepy. Oh, the piles of dust, we figured out with history checks and stuff, they were probably spellcaster Ood that had been killed in the Great Cataclysm way, way, way long ago. So this place had been sealed off a long time.
Wow.
So we
From the first age.
So we find a nursery filled with toys. The Granier thing is a Ood doll that's like, doing a little cry thing. To make it stop, you have to rock it. And there's all these little piles of dust. Oh. Baby Ood spellcasters. Apparently they taught little baby Ood how to cast spells. That seems like a rather irresponsible
No, I think
thing to do.
they're just...
They're inherently magical.
Yeah, they're an inherently magical species.
Most of them are, yeah. They're the odd ones.
Well, anyway.
Although, actually, I said this room was full of dust. I don't know if I ever specified there was all these little piles of dust, but
that's my interpretation.
There was lots of dust in the room.
Yeah. So the party considered stealing a bunch of toys from dead children. But we didn't, because when you put it that way...
Yeah, when they first went in there, I mostly just described, like, they find all these magic items, right? But they're all, like, weird little things. Like, the thing you do something and it shoots sparks. And it's all these little magical toys, right?
But we did take a baby monitor. Because it actually has a practical use. It's a communication device. It's a one-way communication device, but Yeah.
Yeah, there was only one that was there.
Yeah.
That was actually in the room next door, but still. That's not really that
Oh
relevant.
yeah, that's right. There were shelves of stuff in the room next door. Yeah, there were a bunch of rooms, and each of them had a different set of stuff in there.
Because
like there was one room that had a bunch of magical diapers.
That was the room with the baby monitor. Because the first room you went to was all like the toys and stuff. Next room had like the big crates of magical diapers. They're like you put them on. They're like normal diapers, but you can like do something and they just cease to exist. So they're the ultimate disposable diapers, and along with what's in them.
Yeah.
So.
There's some dimension someplace where dirty diapers are falling from the sky.
Items survived the cataclysm?
I forget how it is. I think it's half, but the low-level items were the hardest hit.
Okay.
So
apparently those were high-level diapers.
Yeah. Well, there are more of them.
Yeah.
Well, probably if you dig through there, because you didn't dig through, there were crates and crates of them.
Yeah.
Probably, probably like a good portion of them are just normal pieces of cloth now. Although those probably rotted away.
Yeah. So anyway, we took some diapers. I don't know what the rest of the party thinks they're going to use those for, but we discovered the worst magic item ever. There's a sort of a library. There's all these books. Most of them have been destroyed, but there's this one book that's survived. It's one magical book.
And there's all these like books, but there's one book on a shelf, and all the other books around it are like wrecked and burnt and destroyed. And this book is like pink, and it's covered in like jewels, and it's like really like gaudy and tacky looking. So they open it.
It's the Tome of Thousand Faces.
And so they open it, and it says a bunch of words that they don't understand. Except Aurora picks out. Oh, there's one in Elvish that says welcome.
A bunch of different languages.
He touches that, and it fades off. You flip the page, and it says it has a. Oh, it says, place your appendage here, or is this your first time? So you press it your first time, turns the page. And then it has this pencil sketch of Aurora's face, and it's like, name Aurora, race Stacia, age 20,007 years, blah, blah, blah. Is this accurate? And there's like 2 points where it's like yes points to the edge and no points to the edge, so you grab yes and turn the page from there. And then it brings to this page all about her, and it has all these like little options that are like written with like arrows of where you're supposed to grab to turn the page, and stuff like find friends, or you know what are other people doing on the Tome of a Thousand Faces, and etc.
Lee's giving that nod of like yeah. It's Facebook. So that just completely absorbs Aurora. She's like, she starts Facebooking like crazy.
Microtransactional.
Yeah.
Well, she was like, "Is my friend on
she
here?"
wants to look up a friend of hers.
She looks up her friend, who's another star, and she has an entry on there, but her last post is from 10,000 years ago or whatever. So basically, they spend some time messing around and. Yeah, I mean, it's Facebook, but there are no posts. There are no posts from after the big magical apocalypse, which I forget exactly how long ago it is. It's like 10,000 years old, so it's like Facebook, but there are no posts in the last 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got that going for it.
We hadn't actually discovered that yet. That there was a threshold like that.
I was going to mention it next session when you guys explored it a bit more, but it's...
I imagine it'll be fairly easy to discover. So anyway, let's see what else we discover.
And it makes sense because we know that the Ood and the Penoblin had basically magical internet.
Yeah. So. And apparently Aurora was on it. So anyway, did some more exploring. I finally managed to get some of the party members to tell me to go in first and stuff like that. That was one of my big accomplishments.
Well, it worked out well because you were the one who could unlock the doors. And so they were just like, "Can you unlock this?" Yeah.
It was great.
What else? What other things did you go into? There was.
We basically explored all of the rooms along that little thing.
Yeah, there was a thing with like.
There was a coat room.
Yeah, there was a room with like all these racks, wire racks, and there was all these like shreds of leather with like buttons on the floor. There was a room that was like full of rotting cloth, and then there was one really cool looking bedroll just like laying there amongst all the rotted away cloth.
Yeah.
And they opened it up, and it was a super cool bedroll. It's like a normal bedroll, but it's one piece, and it's made out of this weird shimmery material, and it has like this weird thing you can close by holding your finger down the side, and it's basically a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
But
and then there was a room filled with 10,000-year-old preserved food. Magically preserved, so it was still awesome. And so everyone was like, "Oh, 10,000-year-old food!" Nom nom nom.
It was good. They had because you guys had just had like crappy rations that day.
Yeah. And so I waited for everyone to finish eating before I would go. Accomplishing so many things. Anyway.
What did anybody say about Aurora? Because it said that she's like 20,000 years old. Did anybody like say, "Hey, how are you 20,000 years old?"
Yeah, no one seemed to really comment on that.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I made I don't think I made a knowledge roll about knowing about stars. I don't think I succeeded in that. So yeah, I would have been a bit curious about it.
We'll cover that.
But I probably wouldn't have been very pridey about it. So.
I think at the time it came out, like people were going different directions. Like Aurora was, or once people realized it was Facebook, they were just like, oh. I think that overtook. Like they discovered that about the same time that the whole like reveal about Aurora came up, and so people were more interested in it being Facebook than about Aurora. That sort of overtook, which is funny because in character they like interesting
magic book thing.
Yeah, interesting magic book.
Yeah, it is kind of the opposite reaction that people would have.
So eventually, we finished exploring all those side rooms. I think that was all the interesting things that we found.
That's all I remember.
There was also the room full of poo.
Well, there was a room whose door was off its hinges on the outside, not to the servants' area, and it like really stunk. It smelled like poo and rotting flesh. And they tried to open it from the servants' entrance, and it wouldn't budge, and it really stunk, and they just didn't go in there.
It's probably where all the really expensive treasure turns out to be, but whatever, it's not worth it.
Oh, you already got the exciting treasure. You got the baby monitor. I actually forgot. I made a mistake because I was taking pains to like make it so it's not like, oh, this is just a toaster that runs on magic, but try to make them like, even though the things are like modern equivalents, they work differently. They're magical feeling. And so I was at the time I would plan the baby monitor, but I quickly ad-libbed up what it looked like. And I had been planning in advance to make it like all pink and like have a little baby on it. So it's like, yeah, we got to use this for like our important operation. All right, take this baby thing. But I forgot. I made it like silver and cool looking.
So maybe when you turn it on, it goes that way.
Good.
We'll just wrap it in cloth.
Plays soothing music.
Well, that would make it less useful, but basically it is just a baby monitor, right? It's a one-way communication device, which is useful, but not as useful as a two-way.
So anyway, after all that exploring, we decided, let's get out of here. We want to go back to the surface and not be here anymore. So there's a set of stairs that went up that had sort of been blocked off at the top with rubble and spikes and stuff like that. But when we went and had another look at it, we saw that there was a narrow hole in the barricade, as it were. So Cricket tried climbing up there, but they greased everything, so it was really hard to climb. She fell back down.
Well, and they greased it part way up too.
Yeah.
So you climbed up okay, and then you got halfway up and didn't
get hurt or anything. No.
Wasn't covered in grease.
I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? It definitely looks like. So there was clearly stairs here that have been wrecked, and this hole has been defended. Like whoever's behind the hole doesn't want people up there because if there's spikes pointing down that have been added, like it's clearly defended.
So Hank decides to go up
Do you
instead.
guys want any fried refills or anything?
I'm fine.
No, I'm good. Hank decides to go up instead. He succeeds his climb. He's getting up near the top. When something up there shoots him with an arrow.
No, it dumps a bucket of red hot caltrops.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't an arrow, it was caltrops.
Which burns him, makes him fall off, and then he lands on them.
Well,
And then
first thing that happened was I had an immediate interrupt, which let me shoot an arrow at something that was doing an attack on one of my allies. It's called Arrow of Warning. So I hit whatever it was that had dropped that. They had cover, but I was still able to hit them.
yeah, they were basically invisible. You couldn't see them, but you knew where they were. And you shot them.
There's ton of damage. But
And there was some laughter. There was laughter that was cut short. There was like, and donkey piss on your face. Is what it said. Except it said it in Sprite, so only Croesus could understand that. So then when he heard it, the thing said in Sprite. Croesus is like, I don't know who it was. I don't remember the name. I'll just say Galabia, but I don't remember what it is or something.
Some name of someone.
I'm pretty sure it started with a G. I'll say G lady.
Silvus or something, maybe?
I don't know. Okay, we'll say Silvus. I don't remember what it was. Sylvia? I don't know. It was like, Sylvia, is that you? And the thing at the top was like, yeah. and then it started saying, this is Sylvia, and remember all that money you owed me? Why don't you leave your stuff here and go away, and then I'll collect it up and we'll call it even. Well, so Croesus...
Wait, that's a trick.
Yeah,
I just figured that out.
Even Croesus saw through that, because I gave him a bonus because he didn't owe Sylvia, whoever it is, any money, and this isn't like her at all. So
It'd be really funny if we failed. All right, guys, everybody, let's dump our stuff.
Well, we did a counter bluff that we had fallen for it.
well,
There was some back and forth.
But yeah, before that, because he was like, after he realized that it failed, he was like, because you guys said you wanted to get out of here.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, the best way to get out of here is to jump off into the chasm, and the updrafts will take you to the top. But you don't want to be weighed down. So the best thing is leave your stuff here, and then go jump into the chasm. That'll get you out of here.
So I bluffed that we'd fallen for it completely, and we were going to do that. Thank you, strange voice. That drops Bluebird and Caltrops on us for your helpful advice. We will leave our stuff here and go jump in the chasm. I hope we meet again someday because you're very helpful. So I don't know whether it succeeded or not. We left some junk there.
And they went and hid.
And we went and hid to ambush whatever came down.
But someone failed their stealth check. You don't know, but you guys tried to stealth.
Yeah. I think it was Hank.
I think it was Hank. Yeah. And so this little pixie flies down to the stuff. And
we can all tell that it's an illusion.
Except for Hank, who fails his will check. And he's like, goes in after it, and it explodes with red hot shrapnel in his face. And he's just so enraged, and up above, the whatever's up there is like...
Yeah.
Like that.
Exactly.
For a while. And Hank is just like, I'm gonna kill it. So, that's where we left.
Yep.
That's where we had. Yep. I think there was at least one more way that he tried to convince you to leave your stuff there. I don't remember what it was. He just like, every suggestion he had is like, yeah, and then you can leave your stuff. Brilliant trickster, that one.
Oh yeah. So I'm surprised that whoever's up there is still laughing so hard. with an arrow stuck in his chest.
Well, I mean, surely he's in pain, but it's just so funny to see, like, you know, Hank get hurt. It just, that outweighs it all.
I found this really interesting book. Well, Croesus and I found it, actually. All the other books around it were burnt. I thought that was a good sign. It's got to be something very interesting. I was hoping it would be a continuation of that other book that we found, but it wasn't. Instead, this one had a pink cover, and when I opened it up, it seemed to know who I was, which was curious because Aderon says that it's pretty uncommon to find stars. He hasn't ever met one before. And this book seemed to know who I was and how old I was and my constellation and everything. So that was a little bit concerning. So I think perhaps it's a, you know, something used to scry on others, which, I don't know, I'm not really... I'd rather just hear what people tell me instead of trying to snoop into what they might not want you to know. I think that's a little bit nosy. So yeah, and Cricket is doing everything we say, and it's kind of confusing. And Aderon says that I'm taking advantage of her and that I need to be more careful in how I talk to her and I shouldn't let her call me mistress, but then Aderon was bossing her around. So I think we need to all sit down and talk about this.
Well, things are starting to look up a little bit, actually. We're all still trapped down here, and there are a goblin that tried to kill us. But they didn't succeed. That's a good thing. And more importantly, I'm starting to realize this place actually makes a little bit of sense. I know this place, not directly, of course, but it's a establishment of class. Of course, it's long ruined, but the fixtures are familiar, and we may have found a way out. There's stairs that go up. There's some sort of creature guarding them. We don't know exactly what it wants, aside from all our stuff. But perhaps we can get past him and then we'll be out of here. And best of all, people are starting to actually tell me what to do. Yes, things are looking up.
Well, we beaded the goblins quite handedly. That was quite easy. Everybody was like, went, "Wah!" and falling down. They were just kind of standing there, and suddenly they would go, "Wah!" and fall down. It was very strange to watch. They threw up these tables, and then they went, "Wah!" behind them. I'm not sure how effective that was. They all did it exactly at the same time, too. It was very strange. And then we beat the goblin, as I said. And we finally got to rest. I've been so tired. Or, technically not. Well, the party was so... Fatigued. I was so fatigued. We found what we decided was a servant's entrance. And we rested there, and there's several rooms off there with all sorts of random toddler, baby-related stuff in each of the rooms. Like beds and toys and some kind of monitor thing. Diapers. Lots of diapers. I have a few in my pack in case we need to clean up anything. You never know. It's good to be prepared. Then, I still think we should get out of here. So, I think we should start, like, go through the big door with the unreadable plaque over it. But everybody kept opening doors. So, you don't want to split up. I have to stay with Aurora. I have to protect her. Who's going to protect her if I don't? So, went and joined the party. Cricket found a very, very pink book. I think we're going to find an awful lot of books in her travels. That's the way it's shaping up. Lots of books. Books each time. And then there was... decided to go up the stairs with the sharp, pokey thing sticking downwards. I think we would have had better luck in the double doors because it rained burning hot caltrops on Hank, which was rather unfortunate. And, thankfully, Croesus could talk with it, and apparently it knows Nelvish, so we could talk to it, and it wants our stuff, which is not going to happen. But we're going to let it think that it will happen. But Hank lost his temper. And now he's trying to attack it. We'll see how that goes.
Hi, this is Croesus. Dream's been getting better. We're dreaming about I'm dreaming about a kind of a cave here. Well, not a cave. It's a really old building. There's some leftovers from the other dream, like there's maggots everywhere. I don't know what that's all about, but we found a fun little book, and you know, these guys are great. I think I'm gonna stay with them for a while, maybe tell them my story, because I'm starting to remember stuff. And there's a fairy, but he's kind of a jerk. I don't think he's Stacia, but I can never tell with her, you know. But anyhow, dream's changing, and you know, hoping I can change it for better. We'll go back and we'll. Oh gosh, maybe I can get someone to sing that song for me. Yeah, peace out.
Well, we fought some goblins, and they were chumps. We threw chairs at them, and they all died. It was pretty easy. Finally got rid of these maggots. Oh, that was so nasty, but I slept it off. Wasn't a big deal. And then, yeah, we went and snooped around. Everybody wanted to look at this boring stuff. I just wanted to go, because we don't know what's going to happen. Goblins are going to kill us. I'm going to kill goblins. But yeah, I just wanted to go, but everybody was looking at all this stuff. I did get a new bed, and it's nice. Nobody else wanted it. They thought I should have it, so okay. Looks comfortable. We found this weird book that finds people. I don't really get it, but maybe I can find my brother with it. And so that's hopeful. But yeah, we went around, and we went up the stairs, and there was this hole, and Cricket tried to go up there, and that didn't really work. So I went up there, and this fairy dumped a bunch of crap on my head, and it hurt like, ugh! I'm gonna get that thing. But then, yeah, it talked to Croesus. Croesus thought it was its friend, but it was a stupid liar, and I'm gonna bash its face in, and it sent a decoy and blew me up, and I'm gonna get that thing. It's gonna die. It's gonna die real good. Oh, and I knocked off a goblin's head. That was very satisfying.